can I be washed off? I'm like a monkey. I get all of these sorts of comments, especially from the kids and even older people.
Having sex like anywhere and everywhere, I guess. I don't know if it comes from porn, but I've been followed and caressed on the streets to, follow somebody to a hotel.
I just screamed and ran, and I was like, I'm just existing. I'm not doing anything. I'm not committing a crime.
An American, it doesn't matter. They see your skin first.
Konnichiwa, minasan. Kyo desu. So we're gonna be checking out another video about how it's like being black in Japan. Excited to watch this video, but before that, guys, we are close to 200,000 subscribers. So if you haven't already, like the video and subscribe to the channel.
Prior to coming to Japan, did you have any concerns of how it is like being black in Japan? I had a few concerns, like just about maybe finding products, because I heard a lot about like skin whitening in a lot of the creams and things like that, and maybe a lot of talk about how Japanese people, maybe Asian in general, are maybe looked down on people with darker skin. And so I was a little concerned about that, but looking at the few videos at the time that were on YouTube about being black in Japan, it kind of did reassure me that like maybe everything isn't going to be so bad, but at the same time I had to think to myself, well, I have to experience this for myself. And I knew coming to Japan that it was mostly like a homogenous country, that I wouldn't see very many people who looked like me.
Right.
And I think as a black person that might be concerning anywhere you go. You just worry how you might be treated, how people might perceive you. But I wasn't really afraid of violence or anything like that. At the most, I was expecting stares and maybe some comments. And that my first time I came, that's pretty much what I got, yeah.
I thought, living in a major city in Japan like Tokyo, that's considered to be so internationalized, I thought there would be many problems. But I was sent to the countryside. What shocked me the most was that many people in the countryside were actually unaware of the existence of, different people. Many times I would get questions about the color of my skin. Is it that I have been burnt by the sun? Is it that I was born like this? Am I dirty? Or, can I be washed off? I'm like a monkey. I get all of these sorts of comments, especially from the kids and even older people. So it was really, it made me really introspect and, realize that, not everyone in the world is aware of the existence of different peoples and of the challenges that, people are facing.
So what are some of the stereotypes that Japanese people have towards black people in Japan? And where do you think those stereotypes came from?
So that's a good question. So I think a lot of Western media, maybe Japanese people see black people as like scary, or like especially black men, and maybe black women are maybe aggressive or just too bold or too expressive, maybe.
And they think that you are good at sports, like running specifically.
Or basketball.
Running specifically.
Yes. I don't know, but yeah, I don't play basketball, like surprisingly, okay, but I do like hip hop, but I can't rap.
Bokumo.
So they shouldn't think that like, oh, you can rap, freestyle. Like, no, that's not how it works.
I taught English for 2 years, and the textbooks that I use are just grossly, discriminatory. The images that you see of black people will never be of black people achieving anything. It's always, poor kids running around, not having enough food. It's always, black people, the negative events or negative circumstances within black people find themselves. And I think, for one, the education system needs to be reformed to ensure that, Japanese kids can see a positive image of blacks.
What were some of the biggest challenges that you faced based on the color of your skin?
Getting jobs here can be quite hard because it's always like, you're not from a native English-speaking country, oh, and blah blah Africa, da, you know, and I'm like, we are still people, you know, it doesn't matter.
They usually then you have the image of foreigner here in Japan. So for English teacher, they expect like someone from the US to be like white guy, thing like this. Actually, people don't really know about outside world. So for them, it's always super, how to say, super simple. If you do this, if you work in this industry, you must be from this country. Like I work in IT, so a lot of time people think like I'm Indian.
Well, this is a stereotype in America too, like around the world, that black women in particular are very sexual creatures, and that we just like are okay with having sex like anywhere and everywhere, I guess. I don't know if it comes from porn, but I've been followed and like, you know, caressed on the streets to, you know, follow somebody to a hotel or like things like that. Or, you know, they'll just maybe walk up and say, hey, you know, oh, well, black girls are into this, right? Like, you just want to go quickie over there? And I'm like, what? No.
In Japan?
In Japan.
How did you feel about it?
Well, of course, it makes you feel dirty. Like, like you're just like, I'm leaving from the grocery store. Why would I do, like, no, go away. And, you know, it's really scary in Japan, especially hearing about how the Japanese police don't really do anything when it comes to stalkers for women. So it's pretty frightening.
You know, I've known people who have been denied housing because they're black, and they're told specifically it's because they are black. I've known people who have been denied bank accounts because they're black, and oftentimes they get compared to, well, those Africans came in 2 years ago and they didn't pay back their debts. And even if they say something like, well, I'm an American, it doesn't matter. They see your skin first.
And I've had a child actually, you know, scream and run away from me. I mean, it happens to different people here, but, you know, I was just startled. You know, it was an older child. The child was probably 13, 14. And I was standing there and the child just screamed and ran. And I was like, you know, I'm just existing. I'm not doing anything. You know, I'm not committing a crime. I'm simply existing as a black person. You know, and no one chooses their skin color. But to be judged, you know, or like, you know, discriminated for that, you know, kind of makes you feel very, very sad.
Have you experienced any discrimination in Japan based on your color of the skin?
No. If I have, I probably didn't notice it. Like I said, it's like really passive. So I guess the most would probably be if I'm like sitting down on a train and then no one sits next to me and it's just like, okay, fine, more space for me. And I just honestly just would not notice it. Like for me, it's like I'm really a blunt person, so for me to like notice or catch on, you have to be like just as blunt and straightforward and just say something like, you know, I hate you, black guy, for me to just be like, oh, okay, this guy's being racist.
Just not wanting to interact with me as a customer, or sometimes things like that, or treating me differently when that maybe that person doesn't believe that I can speak Japanese or understand Japanese. It's been kind of like hurts your self-esteem a little bit, but
How do you feel under those situations?
Usually embarrassed or like, oh, I wish I could fit in a little bit more or adapt better. But other than that, I think it hasn't been anything blatant like in the U.S.
In the U.S., you know, there's a system of oppression, you know, that, you know, oppresses black people, causes them to not be able to have the same opportunities, you know, as other groups in the US. Whereas in Japan, there hasn't been this history of, you know, the oppression of black people. So I think in Japan, it's mainly ignorance. And, you know, in both systems, there are, how should I say, there are policies that don't support black people enough. But I think in US, as I said, it's a system, while in Japan, it's just lack of knowledge, or mainly lack of knowledge, I think.
In America, I've had a gun pointed at me by a police officer. In Japan, the police officer like bow before they like ask me to check my bag or something, and they're really nice. Like, I see you, saying, can we check you in? Like, that's so nice.
In terms of discrimination, how do you deal with them? Do you usually just brush it off, or you confront it, try to fix?
I'm like non-confrontational, so I try to make things smooth. But then after, I really think about it, and I'm like, I should have done this, I should have done that, and I get annoyed. But again, I'm a teacher, so I have a unique opportunity to take discrimination and things that really annoy me and then tell it to the kids because they're the future. So I have a chance to shape the future when I tell them, and they listen and they feel it, and they're like, oh wow, okay, you know, like we're all the same.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. I sound like a broken record with a lot of these videos, but the one thing I hate about, about our image as black people, I think black people are the only racial group in which victimhood and racism is so tied to our cultural image as black people. It annoys me in some ways because it always seems like black people are these people fighting a never-ending battle for acceptance, while it seems like every other race of people don't have to deal with that. And I do hate the fact that me being black, those things are heavily tied to me because I happen to be black. And what I would always say is that you have to treat Japanese like a country that has never been exposed to the outside world. Things may come off as racism to you, but it isn't really racism. It's the people who haven't had experiences with people outside of their own country. So when kids are crying or saying, you know, is your skin really real? Can it come off? Don't be offended by that. Understand it's the same way as if I was in Africa. And there's videos of this online where you see African kids seeing white people for the first time and they think something's wrong with the white person because their skin is so light. It's the same concept. You go to Japan, there's going to be people who have never experienced another culture or ethnicity. And I think what people fail to understand is that the group within itself controls its cultural image. So if black people tend to have certain stereotypes, it's mainly because black people have been promoting those stereotypes. A lot of athletes are black. A lot of our music is very sexualized. So all in all, I say is that when you come to Japan, you have to understand how the Japanese think and how Japan was founded and its cultural history. Because if not, you're gonna think of Japan like another country like America or misconstrue certain things, which sadly I do think a lot of foreigners do. But either way, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, also hit that bell as well to get notified whenever we post a video. Hontou arigatou gozaimasu. Mina, 気をつけて。じゃあね。